have our event. Okay, so now we'll begin with our event. So we would like our media team to play the video, the introduction video for our event today.
For Google, cloud adoption with upskilling is very important to succeed the cloud first policy. With the cloud framework agreements in place, doing the upskilling will drive the organization to thrive, ever evolving, and achieving their goals. So, having said that, we offer comprehensive training cloud organization, and with the trainings that we have, that will drive the overall adoption of cloud technologies. And with that, we have seen how 21st century literacy is very important. It is 80% of teachers that get engaged, things that they engage better in the workplace by having a right training. Number two, for the students, the engagement and collaboration and interaction was the highest rank in terms of effectiveness.
So what we do is we act as the best partner for our clients and clients. So in this case, initially what we will do is that we don't stop here. We will continue to work with the client because like what we mentioned, we do provide a security posture management tool and we do provide some cloud management platform tools for our customers where we will be able to understand their cloud journey and we will have customer success managers and the team to go in to further, get the customers a digital journey plan, help them do a blueprint, help them move step by step, all the way from infrastructure migration, data conversion, and last but not least, we move into AI and machine learning to help automate.
As IT operations continue drifting to the cloud, it's important to ensure that organization personnel keep pace with the latest skills and practices. Today, every organization needs a cloud skill training and development strategy. It is essential for organizations today to develop a cloud skills development strategy to map the current skills of team members, as well as to keep pace with the innovations required to stay at the top of the field. With well-trained employees, organizations can enhance their productivity as well as enjoy market advantages.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Roshan. So first and foremost, I would like to welcome all of you to our 2023 Employability Trend Talk. Okay, so you all saw the video just now. So even though the video have already introduced our three prominent speakers, I will still introduce them again. So here we have Mr. Lester Leong, who's a country manager at Cloud Mile Incorporation.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, you can have it. Next, we have Mr. Raja Azmi, who's the country director of Google for Education for Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei. And finally, we have Mr. Ali Reza, who is the cloud consultant at Awantech. Okay, so we'll move on to the forum and don't waste time. How are y'all today?
Excellent, excellent.
Sorry for the slight delay.
I hope y'all had your lunch.
Yeah, I did with the, I tried the APU Cafe. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Actually,
So what
no,
you had?
I was hoping you'll host me for big lunch later.
It's Western food, Maryland chicken or yeah.
So how was the things?
Not bad actually, to be frank, and with the entertainment, with the Bhangra music and whatever.
So hope that you're all actually comfortable right now, so we can bombard you with the questions.
So good afternoon, sir. So I have a question where it's a general question actually. So the question is, internship and entry level positions are crucial for developing a talent pipeline. How do your companies actually engage with the educational institutions and offer opportunities for students and fresh graduates to gain practical experience in the technology field? So, Mr. Raja, try and get your opinion about this.
Sure. So for Google, so let me give you some introduction of Google. I think most of you guys know what Google is all about. But Google belongs to this entity called Alphabet. Alphabet means alpha and bet is not ABC, right? Alpha and bet means alpha is the Google brand, and the bet is the innovation that we do. The innovation that we do in things like, for instance, we have a sister company called Verily. Verily is to address life science. In life science, what we do in Singapore, for instance, Verily is to eradicate dengue. When we say eradicate dengue, it's not that Google buys this fogging machine and start fogging every estate. No, we don't do that. So what we do is we create mosquitoes, right? We create sterile male mosquitoes. With that, uh, the eggs that hatch from the mosquitoes is not going to hatch, right? So hence that automatically will eradicate the dengue. So these are the things that we do differently in Google. So when you ask about how do we engage industry, or in this case institution, in terms of how Google look at things, I'm part from the Google for Education piece. We look at things from a perspective of, number one is the skill sets required uh, to for the industry, for instance, right? So we offer career certification. When I say career certification, these are the top kinds of certificate that is really important for us. Number two, for those who are doing research, we also include things like free credits for those who are doing research and research on some of the technologies that we have. So it's for free. Yeah? For those who are doing PhD, we give 1,000 US dollars worth of research credits, or for the faculty, 5,000 US dollars for research credits. Then with that, we also bring you into the community. When I say community, our partners is one community, the startup community, and so on and so forth. So these are the conversations that we have with the institution in terms of how do you first get you guys up to speed in terms of what the industry is required. And number two, we do offer a lot of, I would say, learnings or certifications that are free for you to download and learn. And at the same time, we also will talk to you about the trend in terms of the type of, I would say, individuals that Google is looking for instance, right? So we are not very high in terms of how smart you are. Of course, that's important, but it's all about making sure that how relevant you are for the industry and the skill set that you bring to the industry. That's how we do engage with some of these institutions.
So is it the same for Awantech as well?
Okay, so just a bit of a background. So our company, Tech, focuses mainly on the public sector. All right. So our engagements is all via the IPTAs, you know, the UITMs, the UMs of the country, and so on and so forth. In fact, we're engaging them a lot. Well, part of it is to try to sell all the licenses, but also at the same time, we understand that because what we're doing is that we're selling cloud technology, cloud solutions. So we're engaging all this student and also faculty, you know, to try to upskill them. So what our tech does is that we frequently do a lot of awareness programs with the universities themselves and so on. So that's on the awareness part. In our company also, we have this division called Selangor Kejaya. And anyone heard of Selangor Kejaya before? No? Selangor Kejaya, no? Okay, maybe because we're in KL. All right, anyway. Oh, no, Google Ads here. Okay, Selangor Kejaya is actually a program that we run with the Selangor government. And basically, it's to upskill and also place students. All right. So, but the SK program is not focused on IT students only, but we cover the whole breadth. So we've got like people who are working in restaurants. We've also got cleaners and so on and so forth that we engage with. So it's all via the MBI, the Mutual Percent Cooperative Company. All right. So, and of course, we are now starting to engage with public universities with APU, of course. All right. And in fact, I think we're having an industry visit next week on 27 with the Google Developer Club. So that's our engagement with the students and industry. Yeah.
Want to answer? So I go ahead.
Anything will be fine, actually.
So we are a bit different, right? So we are from CloudMile. So there'll be a background of CloudMile, right? You have Awantec here, which is in the public sector. CloudMile is the other part of the world with Google, right? We do the fun stuff. We are in the startup, we are in the commercial, we are in the enterprise space, right? So our engagement with interns and students is a bit different. What we did was we signed up with MDEC, this arm called PDTI, Professional Development Tech Industry, where they affiliate us with 26 universities, where we run advisory talks, employment roadshows, recruitment days, etc., etc. Right? Come in hoping to be able to give guidelines, give ideas, or give vision to the students that graduate in this field to be successful in the IT industry. What is the trend like? What to do, and so on. Then we open up for intern positions to come in to our company to join us to become different various position that is aligned to your studies or what you want to be in the future. And then fresh grads, we are also getting the batch of fresh grads from this PDTI association, and then we do offer fresh grads opportunities in our organization. That's what we do. But a little bit of different thing is that after we are, okay, by the way, we are just a 2-year-old company, right? In fact, we are more googly than Google. You look at the dress, you'll know. So after a year of engagement, after 2 years of engagement, right, our organization automatically becomes a talent magnet. So word of mouth, people just want to join us, right? The interns, their friends, they were telling their friends, "Oh, it's so fun in your organization. We just went to escape room last month. We're going to water rafting next week, and so on." Right? So they're like, "Wow, this is the type of organization that we want to join." So slowly, we become a magnet, and now we engage lesser, but we still do offer our values here to help students to be successful. Yeah, so that's how we do it. Yes. So you have 3 different variations here.
Yeah, the 3 different variation was very thoughtful for us, and especially I like your company, how the environment actually is. So thank you for the answers and thank you for your valuable thoughts as well. So I'll pass on to my co-host for the next question.
Just a follow-up question. Mr. Lester, you mentioned just now that your company will accept a lot of interns from various different fields. Like, what are the fields? Is it, or do you have a preference field where you would take more of the interns on?
That's a good question, Roshan. Ideally, we are doing alphabets business, like what Raja mentioned, Google, right? But we are not that chunky until the AI stuff, breed mosquito. Of course, we can't do that, right? So what we do is mainly we help Google take care of the technology business, which is in the cloud era. Things like your data analytics, your AI, the very hot topic today, machine learning, your modern infrastructure, security, application modernization, and your productivity and collaboration tools. So that's the field that we do business. We resell, we support, we provide managed services and so on. So ideally, we want students in that space, right? Data analytics, AI, cloud, developers, etc., etc. Right? But a sad thing to mention is that the Malaysian talent pool is really not sufficient, where this industry is booming very, very fast. So we hope that, like I said, going through sessions like these, we are able to open up mindsets for more students, and also for the universities to provide more courses on cloud area-specific focus. We think that today is lacking. I was at one of the advisory board for one of the universities. In their diploma, they still have a syllabus called Repair
PC. No joke, right? So I was giving the board like, hey, guys, we no longer use PC anymore. Minimum we have a tablet or Mac, right? So what is this, related to? Ideally, you should have a fundamental 101 cloud or 101 data analytics as early as your diploma syllabus, right? So hopefully, by doing more of such talks, we're able to shift paradigm shift so that the students get a taste of all this technology early. Now, inevitable cloud technology is going to be the next trend for the next 10 years in the next future, right? And data AI. Right? So that would be, hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lester. We'll be moving on to the next question. Since you've also said that many of our students actually are not suited, they don't have the skill sets, the correct skill sets to enter the industry yet, right? So, in your experience, how can the academia bridge the gap between the industry and ensure that the current educational programs align with the skills that are required in the industry?
Me or Ali Raja? Me?
Yeah, since you have the mic, how about you go first? Yeah.
So I think like what Raja mentioned earlier, there are a lot of like all these cloud technology vendors, be it Google, be it Microsoft, be it Amazon, and so on. They have a lot of self-learning, skill boost, e-learning courses online. Like if you don't know, you can Google Gemilang now. In fact, Google Gemilang is a platform that offers free training to students like yourself, faculty, B40, M40, that you can reskill, like upgrade your skill sets to be aligned with the industry standard skills, right? Yeah. Just in case if the university is not providing the right courses for you right now. Now, my advice would be the universities to take all these skill boosts, all these courses, all these available e-learning subjects that is aligned with the industry requirements for cloud and move it into your courses. I don't know how you're going to do it, or you can put it as core curriculum first. So that would be my advice, right? So the students can, while taking their usual courses that they are doing today, don't deviate, but to enhance the skill sets, go for core curriculum through things like skill boost, Gemilang, right? Again, please Google Gemilang, right? You'll see a lot of things there. Yeah. So hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. How about you, Mr. Ali?
Thanks. Just want to echo what Lester said just now. I think one thing good about APU here, I think your courses are quite recent, right? Quite current.
Yes, it is.
You're still learning C++?
Yes, we do.
Oh, God. COBOL?
No.
COBOL, no. Okay. I think private universities are way better than the public ones in the sense that, the courseware and all that in the public universities is a bit lacking. But okay, we're not going to talk about public universities here. But as Lester said, even though you're doing, say, a degree in programming, right? I think you guys should do more in terms of getting all those mini courses, those short skills, like Cloud Skills Boost. Okay, since we're talking about Google, we're just limited to that, but I'm sure there are other providers out there. Go ahead and get those skills badges because companies nowadays, they want to see that you are actually going to self-study and teach yourself. Don't think that, once you have your degree, I don't know, like your dean list or whatever, so that you're going to do well. I don't think so, lah. All right. So it's all about trying to upskill yourself, get more, all the short courses, get as many badges as you can. Although certification is the key, but you can put these badges on your CV. Yeah. And that will show the employer that you have the additional drive. All right. And yeah, it's just internal. I hope you get what I mean, right?
I think the question here is how can academia bridge the gap, right, to the industry. So I think number one, I think what academia should do is to partner the industry like Google or whatever other companies to embed some of the curriculum in the subjects that you guys do. I think that's important, right? So one that is done, that you're bridging the gap. Number two, internship conversation. I think some of the companies does internship. Even Google, for instance, we do internship, but not in Malaysia, it's global. So work with Google in terms of how do we get these students to apply to Google globally so
that you compete with the best in globally, so that you are also part of the overall internship program. I think that's something that need to have that conversation. That also would know where we are in terms of the gaps of the students that we are producing compared to what industry is looking at. Number three is also looking at in terms of the industry trends. So I think Lester talked about the Gemilang project, or even Ali spoke about the Gemilang. Gemilang is just a branding that Google did for Malaysia. Why Gemilang? Gemilang is to drive what is the trend that we are looking at from Google in terms of the technology that we are looking at, for instance, data analytics, cybersecurity. These are the key things that's happening in terms of digital marketing, for instance. These are the key things. Hence, these skill sets is very, very important in terms of what we look at from Google's standpoint. So what we do, we train students with the so-called your degree plus program, right? So you have your degree plus whatever that we are looking at. With that, you're more relevant in the industry. Hence, we will start promoting these particular students to our ecosystem, because for us, we don't do a direct model with whatever that we do in terms of selling. We work with partners like Awantech, with CloudMile, even other partners. So hence, we will make sure that our ecosystem have the skill sets. So these are the things that I think academia should be doing, looking at curriculum, looking at engagement in terms of internship, making sure what is the latest trend, have this conversation or dialogue with the industry in terms of what we are really looking for, because things change very fast, right? Things change very fast, and we are constantly looking for individuals with certain skill sets. But that's from a technical standpoint, but also other elements that you need to look at as well in terms of problem-solving skills. These are the soft skills that you need to have. I was just talking to the organizers over lunch. It is not about how smart you are, right? So I keep on saying this, emphasizing this. You're smart, someone else next to you is smarter than you, and someone else smarter than that person. Eventually, the computer is smarter than all of you, right? This is what the AI, machine learning element doing, yeah? So having said that, they learn from the best. This is called machine learning. And hence, so what makes you different is your personality, is your character. These are your problem-solving skills that people like Google, we look at things differently from that perspective. So elements like that, also a gap that we need to address rather than just academic in terms of skill set, technical, but also elements in terms of you able to have critical thinking, problem solving, right? How do you manage when you look at the brain have two parts. When you're calm, it works differently. When you're under stress, you behave differently, right? So all of that is very important, because we look at things from that perspective. And in Google, when you come for an interview, one of the interview that we have, we call Googliness, right? How googly you are to join Google. So later I'll get you details in terms of what googly means. But having said that, these are the things that we look at. It's purely not technical, it's purely soft skills in terms of what we look at.
Thank you. Just a follow-up on the question. Since you say like there's many soft skills, just let's say by skills, be technical, be soft. So which are the skills do you think are critical qualities that are required in the industry right now?
Yeah. So for me, I interview a lot of people, join Google for certain roles. And for me, it's very important is about the soft skills rather than technical piece. That is, individuals are very aligned to technical. Their role is to do that. But when I look at people in terms of engaging client, getting people to be connected, so that why should be Google rather than AWS or Microsoft or something else, is all about the soft skill in terms of how you position the product and how do you communicate. I think communication skills is very, very important, right? The way you articulate certain things is very, very key. So when we look at individual from the perspective of cognitive ability, from the perspective of role-related knowledge, and also the googliness, for me, the soft skills is very, very key, because technical skills can be trained. We can learn from anywhere, as what Ali was saying. We have technology now that we actually don't need teachers, right? There is projects whereby students who never been to school can learn by just putting a computer in a wall, right? This is a tech talk who won $1 million in terms of how children learn in the slums of India, right? They just put a computer, they every day go and play computer, nobody teach them, but they are still able to learn, right? So now even Google has certain things called practice sets whereby teachers are no longer the gatekeeper of knowledge. The role of a teacher is very much is a choreographer of learning. So you choreograph people to learn. Hence, for me, anybody can learn anytime if you really have the willingness to do it. But most importantly for me as an individual and also working for Google, I think I look at element of the soft skills that's very, very important that makes us different compared to our competitors.
So,
So I just want to add on to what Raja was saying. I cannot emphasize enough how important the soft skills are. Like Raja said, like, if you think you're smart, someone else smarter, and so on and so forth. I think what I personally look for is your ability to communicate. Me being from an IT background, I understand. I have a lot of IT friends. IT people don't like to talk to people. You're one of the exceptions. I really understand. Yeah, so for those of you who came and studied, programming, thinking you're going to be stuck in front of a screen, never having to deal with people, oh my God, how wrong you are. One of the main jobs is actually for you to speak to people, right? So that's the key. Trying to get people to do stuff for you also, that's a skill. Yeah, so focus on that. I mean, we've got lecturers here as well. I mean, yes, focus on your studies, but there's a whole life out there as well. So get to know people, speak to people, try to understand them, learn how to negotiate, for example. How to get things done your way, for example. So these are things that you guys maybe go learn on your own. There's so many resources out there.
I think this I concur right with Raja and Ali. I think very importantly, apart from technical versus soft skills, right? Soft skills come first. I give you some scenarios, right? If you want to be successful in your career one day, be it you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be a IT CIO, CTO, I don't know, finance, or back end marketing and so on. There will be a day if you are a director level, you need to face the press or media for an interview, right? Either your biology or the product that you have R&D or the company that you have set up. Now, if you don't have soft skills, how are we going to embrace that session? Right? So all these are piling up experiences in one's journey and your career to be very importantly to be able to have interaction with people well, right? Communication, and that will allow you to build trust. Teamwork is formed. So soft skills is always the number one source of criteria in every employer's hiring. Secondary is technical. Technical skill sets, no matter, I believe so, like what Raja said, you don't need, anyone can learn any technical skill sets, right? So that is, as long as the attitude is right, you're willing to learn, people, learn 7 hours a day, you learn 24 hours, you'll catch up in 2 years, right? So yeah, very important takeaway, EQ and soft skills is very important. Also, to me, a little bit of confident and fun element, but don't do over, right? Yeah. And you need to have a little bit of your DNA, your style, very important. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
We all conquer the same things.
So based on all three of you, what you're saying is that soft skills are actually very important when it comes to what you're looking for these days, right? So how do you develop this soft skill? Like how do you continuously develop them?
Okay, that's a very, very good question, Roshan. Right? So my best answer would be 50% comes from the internal individual. Right? You must be willing to open up yourself, speak to people, experience things, talk to people, collaboration. That's 50% of it. Right? The other 50%, organizations can send the individual for training, courses, but I don't know how much this will help. But there are professional training and courses that teaches you. Like you want to do public speaking, maybe you got stage fright, the fellow just force you to be there, talk to you, you have stage fright, right? So 50%, like I said, these are the advice I can give. And also continue to just don't be within your circle of friends. You get to know more people, form a bigger circle. Right? Always be curious. I think that's a very important word. Always be curious. ask, talk, spark ideas. And I think along as you go, you will build confidence, you will build maturity, and you will learn a lot of new things, and that will widen your circle of network, which will automatically build your soft skill. I'm going to give a fun fact, right? In fact, last time I used to be an IT, right? So I don't really speak that well, and I don't really like public speaking. Right? So I was working in Singapore, my fourth job with LG Electronics. I was a product manager in the organization, and we had a product launch. There was media, about 200 or 300 over media, PRs and so on. So my general manager was supposed to do the product launch. So we were at the launch party, yada yada. Suddenly, the launch was happening, and then the MC just said, "Mr. Lester, come up to do the launch." I was like, "What?" So apparently, my mentor gave me a test on the day. I wasn't prepared, but because I was the product manager, I'm confident of the product. I didn't know how I've gone through that 15 minutes. I was blank. The cameras just blinking, blinking, blinking. My mind was blank. I don't know what I was saying. I don't even know what the PR was writing. But end up that one session hardened me. From that day onwards, I was never fear of public speaking. So fun fact, right? You can have this kind of experience. You'll be good. Lecturers maybe can pull some such things to the students, right? Or suddenly change the moderator, right? Someone can come down and change moderator. Yeah. So I think this will learn the hard way. Yeah. So yeah, that's my answer. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lester. I just want to ask, any of you can answer. So since y'all have already told me which are the skills that are important in the soft skills, do you have any skills that seem like not wanted these days, or something that is you would say is a waste spending your time to learn these skills? It could be technical skills as well.
No, I don't think so. Anything that you do is a waste. It's depending what skills you're. I'm sure you're learning certain skills for certain purposes. You don't want to learn certain skills for, I just want to have one skill. I think that skill need to be able to address certain things. For us in Google, the most important, as I said again, Googliness. Why Googliness is important is all about making sure that you'll be able to, I would say, collaborate. Because Google is all about collaboration. If you come to Google Office, is Google Space. I think you have watched the movie Internship or whatever now, right? So it's all about space. It's all about people coming together and collaborating, right? So the skills is about able to collaborate, right? So, and all our tools that we build, if you look at the Google Workspace tool that we use, is all about collaboration. Doesn't matter whether one tool, we don't have version 1, version 2, version 3. We only have one version. We all work on the same version, right? So unlike your other products that you're using, they have so many versions, right? You save as version 1, version 2, when you present your lecture with version 100, but actually there's version 1000, right? So for me, it's about collaboration, coming together and able to, one of the things that we really emphasize is able to speak up, something that, a skill that you need to have. You cannot be worried, but only if the environment is safe. I call it psychological safety. This is something that an organization need to provide. The environment is called psychological. You need to be safe. If you're not safe in an environment, you will never ask questions. True? You go into a class and the lecturer is so strict, would you be able to ask questions? You would not ask questions. The lecturer said jump, you will say, how high should I jump? Right? But this is something that you need to understand, right? So you need to tell yourself, it's okay, there's nothing called stupid question, right? You need to just ask yourself, because I'm here to learn. And this is also for the lecturers and whoever conducting the meeting, doesn't matter, even in the community, whoever chairing the meeting, you need to make sure that the environment that you provide is safe. When you don't have a safe environment, even for parents like me, I think the children will not talk to me, right? Because if I'm being a very strict father and I don't want to have this safe environment, you cannot comment, what do I do? I don't think so the kid's going to open up to you. Same goes to your working level. So skill-wise, there's nothing that I think is waste. It's about something that you learn, and you also need to think, how do I going to utilize these skills in my daily life, or even in my work, or even whatever that we do. I don't know whether you guys have.
Okay, let's create a scenario. I work with a lot of slides. I do a lot of slides and so forth. So maybe I throw the question to you now, maybe Roshan. What do you think? What skills are required when doing slides?
To know what you're doing.
Okay, you got to know the
Yeah, you gotta
subject.
know what
So,
you're doing. Yeah. Then most important one later on, because you're doing slides to present skills. So you need to have presentation skills.
presentation skills, right? So, but go deeper. Things like, what should the font size be?
I see.
So what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, if you just look at the slide, you're just thinking, oh, okay, I got the content done, okay, lah, settle lah. But there's so much more to that. One thing, of course, the flow of the story needs to be done. So maybe you should learn a little bit about storytelling, right? Maybe you should learn a bit about visuals, because presentations are all visuals. I mean, what color should I use? Should I be using more than 10 colors? No, don't. Don't use more than 3. So these are the other things that, you should be looking around it. Not just focus, oh, okay, I'm supposed to do a PowerPoint slide. Okay, I get the content and done. No. To get the person's attention, you need more than that. Like you said, presentation skills. Okay, what are the presentation skills? You got to look people in the eye, for example. One person, one concept, for example. So there's a lot more to it, and so like Raja said, no skill is, a waste of time learning, but see the context lah. Like for example, also, in work later on, you will come up against a lot of battles. Every day, right? Every day you get battles. So there's some battles you win, most of the time you lose. So how do you handle the losses? Right? So personally, I actually like to read up about all the successful athletes and see how they deal with adversity. Because yeah, I'll never be a professional athlete. But what I'm trying to say here is that there's so much you can learn from how they deal with adversity. So don't close your mind. Just, learn whatever you can.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Since you was mentioning about the presentation slides,
Okay.
you're good in doing that. I mean, you're
Alright.
pro in doing that actually, I would say.
I'm still learning. Yeah.
So, okay, nowadays they have this trend among the students, actually university students, they do presentation slides with those like Netflix effects, a lot of morphs. So what's your thoughts about it actually? Like, they are actually trying to catch the audience attention by having such kind of effects with Netflix, YouTube type.
Understand.
But is it actually necessary to do like that?
I would answer by saying there's no right or wrong to it. For example, I mean, I'm working on a project with my founder. Okay, he loves the slides to be all visual. He won't. If I write something long sentence, I take it out. But if you talk to someone, I don't know, a bit more younger, say, yeah, put more info. People don't want to see pictures. So I guess it's how you present it. But to me, the most important thing during a presentation is not the presentation, it's the person standing there. You're the star, not the presentation. The presentation is just to help you. To share with you a personal story, yeah. I think I'm an introvert, all right. But yeah, yeah. I know sometimes I'm not. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so I see myself as an introvert. So I was talking to this guy. He organizes a lot of events for like. He brings in, all this band singing and actors. So when I told him, he says, "Hey, I'm actually a trainer." He says, "Oh, you're a showman." No, but then when I think about it, actually, yeah, he's right. Because every single time I do a presentation, it's just like a show. And if it's the same class, I'm sure the lecturers can agree with me, you're just repeating the same show. So in a way, I am. Right? I didn't realize it.
PowerPoint? No, sorry. I'm not gonna.
That one is totally against. Never use PowerPoint.
That's why I said no. My answer is no. No PowerPoint. Right. Exactly. No. So I got no comment on PowerPoint. So you want me to answer back to the earlier question? What skills are not required, right?
Not a requirement these days.
I would like. I think I concur with Ali and Raja. Right. Don't shut your mind. Like learn as much as possible. Again, back to my earlier word of the day. Curious. Like always be curious. I would probably answer the question in a different manner. What kind of attitude or behavior in you that you will not be so welcome in, by employers or by your fellow colleagues? Right. Number one is do not be arrogant. That's very important. So that is a skill that we don't want to see. And number two, right, don't be selfish. Right, that means things that you know you keep it like, oh, this is my skill. I'm keeping it and I get my job. I'm not willing to share with my peers. No, that's wrong. That's the good old days. My grandfather char kway teow recipe don't pass down. Right, nowadays no more. Like, yeah, you need to pass down because nowadays you see we don't get to eat all the nice char kway teow. So yeah, always don't be selfish. Be humble. Don't be overconfident and arrogant. I think that's the things that we don't want to see.
So as I said again, I think that's clearly said by Lester that googliness is all about that. Right? So not being arrogant, being humble, and so on and so forth. And you asked about how do you, whether you use visuals, whether you use something in your presentation. For me, it's about how do you capture someone's attention in a very quickest time? Whether it's a visual, whether you write or you present. For me, I don't like to waste time listening to a draggy presentation. Yeah, or I like straight to the point. I know what you're saying so that we make quick decisions. Time is very, very important. And I don't like to have long meetings. I like to have 30 minutes. If I can wrap it up in 15, even better. Okay? And I really don't like to have like 1 hour, 2 hours, because I used to deal with government and my meetings like 3 hours, right? So, and sometimes I wonder how the hell I survived 3 hours sitting down talking about things that's not important. But actually the slot is only for like 15, 20 minutes. So same goes to your presentation. You need to make sure that you're very sharp and conscious in terms of what is it that you're trying to say. And that's really important. That will capture in any conversation, okay, this guy know what he's saying. Okay? Visuals, good, but too much visual then becomes a movie, right? You're not here to show a movie. You just want to make sure that people want to. What is the outcome you're looking for? The outcome is, do you want the lecturer to give you an A by having this visual? Do you want someone to understand what is it that you're trying to sell? Whether you get the next steps. So you need to understand what is the outcome that you're trying to do. And with that outcome in mind, the end in mind, then you start having the presentation plan accordingly.
All right, thank you, sir.
Sorry, please don't put videos in your slides. If you want to play a video, you don't need to get the people to be sitting in front of you, right? You be the video. Thank you.
I guess this was very helpful for all of us about learning how to do our presentations properly for all our assignments next. So, Mr. Raja, I have this question. Since you're mentioning about Google Gabilang, so I came across this one article about Google Gabilang where it was focusing on B40 and M40. What was the reason of focusing in those categories actually?
Okay, the reason why we look at B40, I would say, or even women who have not gone to work, is to address, I would say, future for them in terms of some of the, I would say, skill set that we have. One of it is this thing called digital marketing, right? The reason why Google does this during pandemic, I think there's a lot of people who were jobless. And one of the elements that we saw, that there was this one success story about this guy was, he was selling candles, okay, in his own community, in his village. And he can't really sell the candle because he only knows the people around his village. So with Google's technology, some of the digital marketing using some of our search element advertising, we train him up and he used our tool. His business just grew 170%, and his candle be able to sell beyond his village and even cross-border, cross-country, and so on and so forth. So the reason that we did that is to bring people out of poverty, because that's a bigger issue, impact the nation, right? We look at the pyramid of stuff, the T20, the M40, right? M40 and B40. The M40 and the M40 and the B40, this is the bigger component compared to the 220. So how do we eradicate this element or minimize the gap, or we call it the equity gap, right? I think this is what we are trying to do as Google, so that everybody is not left behind. Even from education standpoint, whatever tools that we give, whether it is for APU, whether it's for Sekolah Kebangsaan Tamil in Sepang, is the same tool, right? Recently, I'm working with Mitra to help the Tamil schools so that they are also able to compete globally, right? When the kids comes out, they know that there is also same part as the international school students, and at the same time, or Sekolah Harian. So these are the things that we need to make sure that even Sekolah Agama, for instance, I was just surprised. I was talking last week in Sekolah Agama Ceras under Mawid. They scored number 6 in the whole of country SPM results. They are not even from MRSM. They are not even from a science school. They're not even from a private school. They're just a Sekolah Agama. They were very much in terms of their own small community of school, but they did number 6 and they're number 1 in KL. Right? Of course, there's other elements to it, the leadership of the principal, blah, blah, and so forth. And this is where Google work with them in terms of they are not left behind in terms of equity gap. That's why, to answer to your question, why Gemilang targeted at the B40 or M40 is to make sure that they have all the exposures it takes. Because the people in the urban, they are probably well exposed. But we are not saying that we are not offering that to even APU. APU, we want to be part of the Gemilang project, yeah, by all means, right? But having said that, our focus is very much for that. I think they are the one that construct the bigger community. And I think this will impact the government if at all one day they have no job. And we need to come up with all these funds to make sure that we survive. This is going to be very difficult for the government. I think this is where we look at things differently from that perspective.
So I have actually to follow up that question. So in some parts of Malaysia, there are still people who doesn't have the access to technology yet. So how does this Google Gemilang reach them actually in terms of helping them?
Yeah, so this is where I think we work, like, for instance, look at Ministry of Education. Ministry of Education got 10,000 schools, 10,000 school plus. We have 460,000 teachers. We have 5.5 million students, right? So for us, from Google for Education, first and foremost, everyone should get the same technology. The bigger issue here is whether they have connectivity access, right? So sometimes you hear the news, people go on the tree to get access and so on and so forth, right? So because of that, from Google's standpoint, we are also doing part of the Alphabet project. We have this particular, I would say, innovation that you're working on right now in Nigeria and also in India. We call the Tara project. You can go on the internet, go and check it out. TAARA, Tara. Tara using a different, I would say, wavelength to bring internet service to any rural part of things. So this is part of what Google does differently to make sure that everybody is not left behind again, right? So for me, this is where we need to work with, I would say, the different bodies within the government, for instance, MCMC. MCMC govern the telcos to make sure that the service of internet is a must now. Just imagine you have no internet for a day. I think most of you have to go through your mental illness, I would say, session, panic attack. You will have panic attack because there's no internet. Because internet is very, very key, right? So now just imagine those people who doesn't have that kind of access. I think the role is for us to make sure that that is provided, and MCMC need to work towards that. And the school, in this case, in the ministry, also need to make sure that everybody has the same platform to teach and learn. And learning can be from anywhere, anytime. It cannot be only coming to school, only in urban areas we can learn. Hence, if you look at Malaysia, MOE has come up with this platform called Delima. Delima has a platform whereby teaching and learning is for everybody. Doesn't matter whether you get the best teachers come up with the best content so that content can be shared someone in a very rural area as well. So they also can learn the same. And this is where the model of making sure that everybody. So one of the blueprint, if you read the blueprint of education, is to minimize the equity gap between those who have or those who don't have. All right. So I think government is doing all of that, but sometimes the onus is in us in terms of what we're going to do for the community. Right. So a lot of people will say, government have not done for me, government have not done for me, government have not done for me. But if we come together as a community, you'll be able to address the community, right? Those days when I was studying, I'm a local graduate, by the way. I studied in UTM in my final year when because I was in KL, when I was in Johor in final year, there's a lot of estates who doesn't even have tuition. So as a final year student, when we have free time, we do go and teach the community so that it's not for money, it's just to make sure that they also can come out from the poverty level. So these are the things that we need to do in terms of, hey, actually, it's in us to drive the change rather than waiting for someone else to do it, I guess.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. So the next question, it's a general question actually. So can you please, since Mr. Ali has the mic, so can you please actually describe the process of recruitment? Because for some, like, for example, in like some companies, they will actually like use AI to filter their candidates. So what type of recruitment do you guys actually take place in your company? Actually, do you do that?
Okay. First of all, I don't think there's any AI element with our hiring now. I think maybe because we don't have enough. We do get a lot of applications, but at the moment, no. But will need to check with the HR from what I know out there. But to describe to you the interview processes, we will normally take the candidate through at least a couple of rounds of interview. That's the minimum. So what will happen initially is the first round, we'll do a quick filtering, see whether you fulfill the checkboxes and all that, all right, degree got, and so on and so forth. Once you get through that, and then the CV will come to hiring managers like myself, where I will take a look at it, and I will then shortlist my own one. So let's say, for example, from 10, maybe I shortlist 4 or 5. Then from that point onwards, we will call them for an interview. The first interview is always about just trying to get to know the candidate. And as a hiring manager, our challenge is, of course, to try and understand the candidate as much as we can within that short 1 hour. So the questions that we ask also need to be important also. Yeah. Once you get past that, if we like you enough, we see that you may be able to do the role, then usually we'll call in you for a second interview where we'll ask you to present something in front of us. The presentation, I tell the candidates, is not so much to see whether you pandai or pandai, but just want to see how much you sweat when in front. You know what I mean? All right? Especially some more, you really want the job if, okay, if you're thinking, oh, crap, I shouldn't be nervous. No. Actually, being nervous is good. If I can sense nervousness, that means you care. No, really. If you're not nervous at all, then why the heck are you here? You're just, trying to get an offer from me, go counter offer back to your company. So being nervous is okay. Just don't be too nervous until you sweat. You cannot stop sweating. You can't, say what you want to say. Then when you got a real problem. All right. Now, so once, depending on the position, if it's usually an entry level, then I think it will stop in the second interview. But if it's a higher level, a more senior position, then of course a third or even a fourth level interview would come. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that answers. Can I have Mr. Lester to share about this also?
Sure. So, yeah, again, I don't think there's any AI now that can help you select candidates, but there are AI tools out there to be able to validate the CV format. If you don't meet the CV format, you don't even pass the first stage. I know there are a lot of tech companies that does that, but we are in Malaysia. We're not that anal yet, right? So, our interview process is like I will share from where we source the candidates and how does our process go. A little bit different from others. We source our candidates mainly from LinkedIn, depending on positions. Google Gemilang. We are one of the Google Gemilang hiring employers. So once you are reskilled, your profile will be in Gemilang and you'll be able to see. So we map it against the right position. We also use very much our own internal team members' recommendation. That's where we believe it's very important because for us, our company, we are like Google, right? So culture comes first. So the employees that work with us for some time, they know our culture. They will be able to recommend the right fit friends or people they know. That's the last but not least. We only use headhunters, but we don't really go there anymore because the headhunter quality doesn't really match up to the skills that we require. Right? They just make a big buck. Right? So after we source the candidates from those different platforms, of course we also use some online hiring platform like JobStreet and stuff, but not that much though. Still do, but the majority of them are the first four. Now, after we select the right candidates, we will call them in for interviews. There will be minimum 2, if not 3 rounds, depending on the position that we are offering or you are applying for. So the first round will be very much with HR and may probably be peer of a hiring manager to understand the person's character, personality, knowledge. And a tip here, very important, during your first interview, we always like to see the candidates do their homework. Always do a Google profile search on the organization you're applying a job for. You need to be able to tell us what our company is doing and what interests you to come for the interview. Many fail at this stage. Right? Fun fact, tip, strong tip. Now, after that is done, the second interview we will give some homework to the applicant. If it's technical, we will give you technical questionnaires. If it's sales or if it's customer related funding or if it's finance, we'll give you some questions. The questions are mainly things that you will encounter if you are really given the position. Good things, bad things, situational things. No right or wrong answer. We want you to come back. We'll give you ample time. Come back and you share with us what are your resolutions to these situational questions. That would be the second interview, right? So if the second interview we pass that, and if the candidate is extremely, amazing, then we will probably just hire. But there are a few candidates that is on par, then we will select the best of breed. Now, after that goes, if it's for a medium or senior position, you will have for our organization, right? You will have a last interview called the Googliness interview. From me, personally, TLC, right? Is to be able for you to connect with me and the organization. And that interview doesn't go one way, it goes 2 ways. I will give you half an hour to question me back and ask for expectation of the role, the company, your career path, or anything you want to know, even my personal life also. That is how we build that trust at that very moment so that we make sure we hire correctly. So when the person comes in, it's not a rosy picture, it's expectation well set. Then everyone can excel and do well in the organization. So that's how our process goes. Very googly. Exactly, you're right.
So for Google, we don't have a headhunter, right? So we don't use headhunters. Yeah. So we only use internal recruiters, and the platform we use is LinkedIn. Okay. So the tips given to anybody want to apply a job, as you see a listing of Google jobs, make sure that you customize your CV according to what is the job is trying to look for. So when we do the shortlisting, of course, we cannot be shortlisting everyone. I give an example, one role, I probably will have 1,000 people applying, right? So what we do is we do certain element of matching words, which is if you can consider AI, right? And you can see that this person has this element. So that is shortlisted. Number 2, the most important for us is reference check, right? The hiring manager will get a list of, from the recruiter, this is a 10 shortlisted candidates. Do you know any of them in the industry? So your credibility in industry is very, very important. Okay, we do a quick reference check. I will call some friends. Surely someone knows you, right? So, and they will give whether it's good, bad, ugly input of this particular individual. So we will take that as a verbatim. Of course, our internal referral fee are fantastic. For every one candidate you refer, you are paid almost like $5,000 US. Okay, so for us, is I recommend someone and that guy was hired and he can live through his probation for 6 months, I get paid. I don't need to do anything else. I just be a referral guy in Google and just say what role that they're hiring. There's a lot of people who make money out of this. But having said that, why referral is important? You only refer those people that you know, right? And you know what is their values. And in Google, we have 3 big values, the 3R. Does anyone know what the Google 3R values? This is not a political speech. It's not Raja. It is respect the opportunity given to you, respect the user, and also respect each other. Right? So whatever that you guys do, an opportunity given to you, you need to respect the opportunity. You need to know what's the respect the user, who's going to be the end user of this, and also each other. Even if it's a teammate, you're doing a project, you need to respect each other because everybody is diversity. And Google DEI is very, very important. Diversity, the equity, and also the inclusiveness is very, very important. So when I write someone, when I interviewing someone, I cannot even call this person in my report, he, she, or whatever. The system just doesn't accept. I can't even submit my report. So I need to call it candidate. So whoever reads my report doesn't have this biased feeling whether it's a male or a female or whatever. Right? So it's very, very open from that perspective. Because we don't look at people from the perspective, I only want to hire a woman, I only want to hire a man or male, right? Because for us, is everything, everybody should have an equal opportunity to come into the organization. And most importantly is your skill sets that they're looking at. And how would you be in the company long? Because for me, hiring is easy. The most difficult is firing. Okay, it's like a marriage. Huh? Getting married is easier, getting divorced is very difficult. Right? So for us, that's why in the organization, when we hire, we really need to make sure that we hire for the purpose. And in Google, typically 3 interviews. Number 1, the hiring manager will look at cognitive ability. We look at cognitive ability in terms of how do you look at things. Number 2, someone within the business will look into RRK, we call it role-related knowledge. If you're hiring you for a sales role in public sector, we make sure that you probably understand the role, what the role need to look at in that particular vertical, right? And the third is most important, as what Lester was saying, because he copied Google. It's called Googliness and leadership, right? So this is very, very key because this will bring you to the next level. Because in Google, every 2 years, you can look for a new role. You don't stay in the same role, right? When I joined Google 3 years ago, I was head of public sector for Malaysia, Pakistan, and Brunei. But now I'm doing Google for education. After 2 years in a row, I've taken a different role. Now I'm managing Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. So after this year, I'm going to have a career discussion with my boss. What's going to be my new role, right? Because they're very open. What do you want to do next, right? So for us, if you don't fit into the organization in terms of what the organization is doing, then you will never able to fit into the organization because the organization has elements that you want to do. For instance, the biggest business for Google is advertising, right? So tomorrow I can put up my hand. We have this element in Google. I can do 20% of what I want to do, my passion. If tomorrow I love advertising, I can put up my hand to my boss. 20% of my work, I'm going to just focus on advertising, on the learn advertising. That also takes away from your mundane, boring job to do something exciting. So if I really like to do advertising, I can get into joining the advertising team after this. Or tomorrow, if I want to join the mosquito team, the Verily, I can go and join the Verily team in terms of whatever that I do. So this is where the organization look at. Of course, we are global, we are big. The local companies has also these opportunities, but they're also growing from that perspective. So always is in you, we look at whatever you write. Don't think your CV, one CV fits all. Right? The guy is looking for A, you will say, okay lah, malas nak tulis. I just write one CV that everybody should be able to look at it. Don't do that. Look at the job description. Look at what is required. Write your CV according to that so that you've been picked, right, for at least an interview. All right? When you have an interview, you already have a chance, right? You're equal to the rest. You have a chance to, in that 1 hour, to woo this guy, yeah, I'm the right person. Right? So I think that's what you need to do.
Mr. Raja, you actually mentioned that you actually a different
Role. Yeah.
role, yes. So how did that affect you? Was it positively or did you take it well? Or
No, this is something I wanted, right? So some of the job that you do is very stressful. I had some elements that I want for myself. In Google, the one thing about Google is very flexible. So one of the things that I've negotiated in my new role, I only want to work for 3 days, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're all damn jealous with me. So Thursdays, Fridays, I don't work. I actually wanted to do more things with my family. All right. So this particular role offered me that flexibility, right? So I said, okay. Then they said, okay, Raja, you're taking care of 3 more countries. Can you do another day, 4? So now I've done 4 days. So every Friday I don't work. Okay, nobody calls me, nobody bothers me. My boss would not set any meeting on Fridays. So Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I'm with my family, and only on Mondays to Thursdays that I have a back-to-back meeting till evenings. So I try to maximize as I can for this 4 days. So for me, it is not about people pushing you to a role. Is what do you want to do, right? So I think that's something that you need to ask yourself.
what would you say about, let's say, if, a candidate, they're going for an interview, so, but they don't get the role that they want to, maybe they place them in a different role. So what are your advice to them? Should they actually accept?
This is always a question, right? So I used to be like you, fresh graduates coming out. I was an engineer. Of course, my parents wants me to go back to my hometown, which is Penang, work for all these factories, Silicon Valley so-called, and I don't want to go back and work in a factory. I really don't like that. So I take up a different role. So for me, it's this, right? Every job that you get, you probably will not get the job that you want. But most importantly, is about getting the experience. It's not about the role, it's also the experience of the environment that you are. With that is a stepping stone for you to do other things. Never think that, oh, I've studied A, I only want to do A, nothing else. I'm sorry, probably you will not get it. All right. So to look at my background now I'm thinking about it. Being an engineer, now I'm a salesman in a way, right? So eventually one day you need to transition from where you are to something that you're going to earn. The bottom line is what? You're working for the love of the company. I think you're working for to make money. Let's be honest about it, right? You want to have a better living and so forth. So a lot of people ask me in my interview, Raja, why are you leaving? Why do you want to join us? I said, yeah, I want to earn more money. I'll be very honest about in terms of people who say no career announcement, I want to learn something. All this is nice to hear, but bottom line, back to the back of your mind, you want to earn more money, you want to do well. So in your career, when you're a technical individual, you need to decide what's going to make you a lot of money. For me, I finally decided to be a salesman makes me a lot of money because the incentive is tremendous. Right? When you meet your numbers, when you meet your quota, they pay you incentives. Some of it are accelerators, and sometimes it's mind-boggling how much more you can earn. It's more than whatever professionals that you're looking. So I decided I want to do that, but it's a very stressful job. So it comes with that. So are you prepared to do so? Right? If you're not prepared to do so, because it's cadence every day, every day a forecast call meeting with your bosses, tomorrow with their subordinates, then with the regional team. I don't think so. A lot of people can take it, but if you really want to do it, this is something that you are looking at. So for me, um, this is something that you need to ask yourself what you really want, and whether you want to do that, and what really matters for you, right? Of course, now at my age, like now, I'm not going to talk about money. I'm going to talk about more about balance. I need to have a work-life balance. I always tell people work-life balance is a myth, doesn't exist, right? But even now, I still believe the same. It doesn't exist. But you need to ask yourself, okay, what do you want? Hence, I purposely wanted a negotiate on my package, saying that I want a day off on a Friday, so that I don't work. I block my calendar the whole day. Anybody send me a meeting, the AI in the calendar will just automatically reject me. So this is something that I practice. But in your case, you are still young. I think you should work 7 days rather than 4 days. So I think that's why it is.
Yes, you all should work non-stop, okay? Seriously. I don't know, lah. I mean, I always tell the young guys like you all, work lah. I ask you to work extra hours or start complaining only lah, making noise lah. To answer your question earlier about, what if you're stuck in a role that you didn't ask for it? Like I just said, I mean, it's all about experience. And just because you're doing that one role doesn't mean you should only know that one role. I mean, I'm sure all of you have aspirations to become CEOs of companies and so on and so forth. Do you think CEO only look at one thing? They're going to know everything. Like for myself right now, okay, I'm a trainer. I also decided to become salesman. All right? Because that's where the money is as well. But of course, like Raja said, it's tough. It's a lot of pressure. But again, at the end of the day, it's what you want. So coming back to the earlier question, so don't be so caught up as I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do and all that. Unless you study IT, they ask you to do cooking. That one is something totally different lah. That one reject the job lah. All right. But let's say programming, your major is programming, but now they ask you to take care of infra, maybe cloud security. Why would you want to say no? It's still an IT. Like I said, don't go another industry. All right. So for you guys also, I mean, don't take whatever job, but get the job that you will most learn from. There's always this debate. Should I work for a really big company? If you work for a really big company, your vision might be only tunnel vision. You only see small things. But on the other hand, if you work for a smaller or medium-sized company, you need to do everything, which is also good. All right, but some of you who might think that, I join a small company, I do everything. But that's where you learn the most. Just a short story. I was a sysadmin IT manager about 20 years ago. I'm in charge of IT. So when I first joined a company, they says, "Oh, okay, we have a PABX system. You know PABX system, right? Telephone system. Oh, under your IT, you're in charge of that too. Wow. What do I know about PABX? No. Just that thing plugs into the electrical socket, therefore it falls under IT. So I told them, so you want me to be in charge of coffee as well? I can make for you as well. Plugs into an electrical socket. But the point is, you have to accept now. And then after that, I said, oh, actually PABX is quite similar to networking. It's quite interesting as well. So don't close your mind. Be curious, let's just say early on. And learn as much as you can. And this is now when your brain can still absorb, Come to my age, come to Raja's age and all that, cannot absorb. That's why I'm thinking about work-life balance, don't want to work and all that. So that's why. So your young ones, your brain can still take it. So go ahead.
Okay, this question I beg to differ. So this is why panelists is around here, right? So anyway, no right or wrong, it's just different views from three of us, right? Now, my answer would be, why in the first place you want to take a job that you are not applying for? That shouldn't be the case, right? Remember, I bring back to the way we do interview. You have the right to ask your employer, what is the expectation? What is the role? Be clear what you are getting into the volcano, then make a decision. You have a choice. You always have a choice. It doesn't mean, you apply for A job, they give you C job, you take C job because I just think I want to get the foot into the company first. Of course, if that's Google, then you jump right down. Right? But that normally won't be the case, right? That's why we are the academy here, right? By the way, you don't hire my people, right? Okay, anyway. So that would be my view, right? Number one, you have a choice, but always ask and be clear. First, very importantly, you must know what your career goals are. Never think that I'm so young, I want to try everything. But if you have a career goal, what you want to do in life, and you one thing, two things, or three things, go towards that direction and chase after your goals and chase after your dreams. I think that's my advice to the floor. Why recently we see a lot of we are supporting a lot of incubator companies. They are providing VC funds or bootstrapping period for startups. A lot of these startups, I'm quite amazed that the founders are university students like yourself, and they have a dream, they have a vision, they have a goal. Be it supported by technology, supported by a motive, a motion in life. and they started up their startup, and they never give up. And I've seen some of them very successful. I was at some of the pitching day, right? And I saw them pitch what their company is founded for. And it's quite amazing. And it was quite hard. Right? If you add me in LinkedIn, you should be able to see my comment to this startup. So yeah, again, if your dream is to do something that you want to create a new thing to help Malaysia, right? By all means, you should go. And again, never take a job which you don't want to get into, right? Again, so I beg to differ for this case. Number two, I have another beg to differ statement from Raja again. Yes, we all work for money, right? But working for passion is sorry. Wait, I beg to differ again. Now, I beg to differ. Right? So, working for money is good, but also working for passion is also important. Number two, your working colleagues. Right. In Cloudmile, I don't know any one of you know any Cloudmilers. If you know anyone from an organization, you ask them, what do we call Cloudmilers in Cloudmile? We call ourselves Una Familia, one family. And today, I have zero attrition. Everyone that joined us for today is very happy. We grow from 1% to 30%, and my aim is to grow to 120 people in the next 2 years. Right? That's how fast we're going expanding. And all the team members that I have staying with us is saying that they have an offer, not like Google, thank you, out there, maybe paying 20% more, example. They will come back and tell us that they want to stay. And we definitely can work out packages to retain the talent, right? So very importantly, like, what I'm trying to say, doesn't mean work for money somewhere gets you there. You may go in the organization like extremely stressful, not enough sleep, even 4 days work. Yeah. So for us, different. We don't need to work 4 days, we work 5 days. But we only go to office on 2 days, right? Go back to office every day. We only go 2 days, and Friday is a TGIF day. After 4 p.m. it's about pool, darts, billiard, Nintendo X games, drinks, and so on. Right? And every month we have we call this SIG, Special Interest Group. Every month we do activities as a team, and it's compulsory, and we take a work day to do it. Right? So you have organizations like So where you can choose join, right, and not the legacy company. And it's very important once you have the bonding with your team members, you will love to be in the organization. So yeah, I beg to differ two things. Right? No right or wrong answer, it's just different view perspective. So you know these panelists never pakat, right? Okay, very important. Okay, hope that answers your question.
So I think like what I get the answers from all three of us is about flexibility and adaptability. Like, if you want to venture into a new industry, you got to be flexible. It's not like restricting yourself rather than like, oh, I just want to work in this only. So that's actually thoughtful for everyone, and everyone should learn how to be flexible, adapting into a new industry also. So since we had a very long talk, can we have a 5 minutes break? I think you'll be waiting for this also. So everyone also was waiting for a 5 minutes break. So let's meet up around 2:58. Okay, 3 o'clock now. Make it like 7 minutes. So it's a 7 minutes break for everyone. So you guys can take a toilet break or anything.
Hello, everyone. Can I get your attention again? We're going to start very soon. I think we're going to start now. Hello. Okay. We're going to start the session again. If you all can grab a seat. Thank you very much. Chelsea, could you start? As you can see, there's an article here which talks about working hours. So here we have Elon Musk tweeting saying that staff that they must commit to working long hours. So we want to know your opinion of this. So let's start with Sally. I guess you say you work the longest.
No, okay, well, I have the worst gig compared to my fellow panelists here on my left and right because at our time, because we deal with public sector, so we also 5 days now, Monday to Friday now, all right. During the pandemic, we did work from home, but I think that was out of necessity. But then once we've recovered post-pandemic, so my HR department sent us all an email saying, okay, no more work from home. All right. So officially, that's the stance of my company. You want my opinion or my company's stance?
Your personal opinion.
My personal opinion is I don't work.
How about we know it?
Okay, no. Okay.
So how about we know it both ways?
Okay. Anyway, I believe if in a technology company, okay, if you ask about my company, I wish we had work from home because I think with technology we are able, to work from home. But it's just the discipline in some people when we let them work from home, they don't work from home. That's the problem. So I don't know, maybe we can learn from Google and how they do it, but this is what this. I guess that's why the HR has told us to say no. Everyone needs to be in the office. Yeah. Previously, we had says okay, if your boss says okay, then you can work from home. But now it's totally zero.
Since this time I've been working every day, and the other hand have been working from home as well.
Okay, so this is tells Twitter staff to work long hours or leave. That's why so many people leave, right? Yeah, got fired. So anyway, no, it doesn't mean my view again, my view, personal view. It doesn't mean working long hours is effective or efficient, right? Very importantly, is work productively, deliver the right results. So my strong belief is work-life balance, and I do believe it. Right? I do believe this true. The living example is here. So what we practice is a hybrid working model in the organization. I only tell my team compulsory to be in the office on Thursday and Friday. If you all remember my earlier speech, right? So Thursday is the day where the team get to at least see the family once a week, get to know each other, mingle among yourself, get to know your colleague better, and so on, right? And Friday is the day where they all wait for me at 4 p.m. just for associate, just to officiate the games, officiate the drinking, the food, and so on, and start our TGIF and wind down for the weekend, right? So that are the 2 days that for us only come back to the office. Monday to Wednesday, it's work from anywhere you want. The office is there. You can go to the office to work if you want to. You can work from home. You can work at a cafe. Anything you want. But we do have this trust element that we will complete our task, given task, on time, because all our tasks that we are completing is related to another fellow peer colleague. It's a teamwork. If you don't complete your task on time, you will implicate your other team members, or I call family members. So that's a trust that we have among the team, that we make sure we deliver results on time, helping each other to be productive and successful. So that's our way. And also a lot of things, I strongly encourage the team members to at least block off 1 day a week for focus time. Focus time means to learn, meditate, or to find your inner self. Fine, right? You can block it off. And when you have focus time in your calendar, no one is supposed to disturb you. But you need to balance it up within your work and your life. So that's how we do it. It's a new way of doing things. And so far, the productivity is quite amazing, in fact. You bring out a lot of curiosity and ideas from the team members, and it's more effective versus than working long hours. I don't believe in that.
Coming from me, working 4 days. Okay, so I think we are not like Elon Musk telling us Sundar Pichai doesn't call us and say you better work long hours. I think we don't have that element. I think it's just that, as what the word is, trust, right? Trust given to you to do your task or your job. And in Google, you don't need to come to the office totally, right? So they send a table, a chair to your house. Seriously, no, you get a chair, you get a table, you work from home. The only reason people come to the office is because it's free food, all right? You have free breakfast, free lunch, free tea, right? And also the TGIF, we have TGIF, right? But now we change it to TGIT because I work 4 days. So every Thursdays we have drinks, we have food, and people come. I think, but bottom line is this, right? So it's all about based on deliverables, right? Every job has a deliverables, there's a deadline. And one of the things that will make you work so much because of procrastination. You start procrastinating, tomorrow exam, today you want to learn, you will learn more, right? So typically, I was a student like you guys, right? Wait till the last moment, do your assignment, you don't sleep the whole day, you're on caffeine and whatever not, right? So this is what we need to plan. So I'm 100% sure in Google there's a lot of things to do, and some of us get burn out very fast because a lot of things need to be done. And number two, because of you are given the responsibility of driving certain numbers, for instance, right? We are measured every quarter, and every week we have cadence, and numbers are crazy. And you need to make sure that if you fail to bring this number, you need to patch up with something else. So you always strive to do more. And this is basically in you, right? So it's in you whether you're conditioned. Of course, you can take the time off saying that, okay, I'm not going to do this, right? Nobody's going to bother you, but time comes if you don't meet your numbers, they also say, thank you very much, nice knowing you. All right, say goodbye to you. Yeah, so, but yeah, it's hard. But they'll go through the process and make yourself that you go through the process in terms of, okay, this is not the place. So for me, of course, a lot of people say, he says he believes in work-life balance. I always think work-life balance is a myth, right? So if you don't know how to balance, it's something that you need to deal with, even for your home. When you go back home, I'm sure you're always on your phone looking at your emails. I'm sure you're looking at your WhatsApp. I don't know who can just off the phone and not say anything. You've spent 100% of your family. It's a myth. All right, so please don't kid yourself. Before you sleep, you also take your phone to see whether your boss WhatsApp you something, right? So bottom line is this is all in you. How do you manage your time? Nobody will tell you to do more, right? If you're able to manage your time, then you know how to manage your time. So if you can't, you go through the process of getting yourself burnt. Then eventually you start asking a question, is this something that I want to do? Once you start impacting your health, impact to your mental state, because in Google we do play a lot of big role in terms of mental state. We have a mental state week or mental state month. We have a lot of programs to help people in terms of coping, in terms of coming back to work, because people are all used to work from home and so on and so forth. So I think these are the things that you need to ask yourself whether this particular job draining you. And if it drains you negatively, is a question you always need to ask yourself, is this something I want to do? Right? So then the answer is always yours. Right? So if you don't think that you want to do this, then job is job. Getting a job is easier. Getting married is even difficult. So I think always.
So can we say like as long as you get your job done by the deadline, it doesn't matter where you work, you're good.
Yeah. Nobody, if you don't have a punch card, punch in, you need to call your boss. I can do from anywhere. I can work from anywhere, right? I can go for a holiday and still do my job. I don't need to inform anything. I can drive back to my hometown and still do my job. So nobody cares where you are. Just get the job done.
Thank you very much. So since it's a bit late already, and you all also I think want to ask some questions. So I'll open up the question and answer session now. So anyone who wants to ask a question? You all can just raise up your hand and I'll bring the mic to you. Oh, okay.
So actually, hi, good afternoon. So actually, my question is, how can we differentiate between each other, like differentiate ourselves as individuals and improve the competitiveness in our chosen industry? I think I just opened it up to the panel in general.
So, if I hear correctly, your question would be, sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name is Ivan.
Hi, Ivan.
And currently studying in the School of Computing, Computer Science in Data Analytics. So my question, I'll repeat again, is how can we differentiate ourselves from other candidates and also improve the competitiveness within our chosen industry? Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a very good question, Ivan. So, as long as I think you use the word competitive, right? In the industry, is always competitive. So, how do we differentiate ourselves from our fellow competitors or candidates, right? It's again back to my word, curious. So always be curious about things. Right? Always be curious, and curious will lead you to learning a lot of new things. Whether things are within your safety zone or non-safety zone, you are willing to explore it, learn it. Number one. Number two, talking to people. Right? Don't be fearful to talk to people, be seniors or juniors or your peers, right? And always listen and be open to listen and understand and absorb, right? Things that you don't agree, you can always do. The next thing is you do a research on validity of the content that will told to you. And that will help you gain experience and knowledge as we progress. Number one. Number two, there's a lot of all these technology, like in your field, right, data analytics stuff, a lot of these technology platform skill boosts out there that is available free of charge. I strongly encourage the candidates to always go and learn, the point of interest, subject of interest. It doesn't mean you have to be data analytics. Maybe you're already a master of data analytics. You want to do a little bit more machine learning, and it's something that you don't know, it's within your comfort zone. You should take a leap of faith and do it, right? And that's second. And always try to participate if there are talks, TED Talks, exhibition and stuff. Just go and learn as much as you can. So that answers to your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ivan.
Thank you so much.
So let me give you another perspective. Right? Do you know why Uber was not successful in Japan?
Well, I think taxi drivers there are still more efficient than Uber.
Exactly. So one of the things that Uber really was not successful in Japan, because the taxi drivers in Japan, they dress very well, they wear gloves, they open the door for you, they lead you into the car. Whereas Uber driver doesn't even get out from the car. You're carrying the bag so heavy from the airport also, you open the own booth and put the bag in. So that is the differentiator. You know what people really want. You need to create that differentiator based on what people really looking for. So that's why Uber really never took off in Japan. Because in Japan, the culture is about you giving that kind of respect, leading people in, giving them that comfort and so on and so forth. It's easy as that. So in working life, to make yourself different, you need to really do some background before you go for an interview, what the company really looking for, and what way you present yourself that you will add value to the rest of the candidates. That's important. Then you build your skill set. So basically, it's about you looking for the niche and making sure that you have that differentiator or the wow factor, why should we, or the X factor they call it, that we should get you into the particular role. I think.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rajan.
Stanley, do you have anything to say about it? Oh. Okay. Yeah, any other questions? Oh. Maybe I come up.
So, hello, my name is Akif. No, just call me Akif. I'm also studying here as a CSDA student or computer science student. So, one of the few things I figured out from listening to this talk is how important communication skills are. And for me, myself, I do think it's very important as well. But one of the few things I'm curious about, curiosity, is that as a student, how do I network myself with professionals? Like, what are the venues? What are like the platforms I can use to try and communicate with these professionals? And of course, as you said before, how important like in-house recommendations are and stuff like that. So how do I actually get to know these people? How do I really connect myself with the industry? That's my question, and it is open to any of you guys willing to.
So for me, I think I look at a lot of, I would say one of the platforms that easier for you to network is LinkedIn, right? There's a professional network of people. You get connected, then you start writing your views on certain articles. People give comments. You get connected with that person, and you should be able to connect with the person and start asking them. So, okay, so you can introduce yourself. People will reply to you. I think this is the reason why sometimes it's good. See, the question is, I was reading this book. If you have time, you read the book David vs. Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell. So in that particular book, the question is about you joining a very good university like Harvard or Stanford and so on and so forth. Means when you join these particular schools, these Ivy Leagues so-called, you are a small fish in a big pond. Right? Everybody is smart and you are fighting. Or you join a smaller universities, right? Where you be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, right? So one of the reasons that you join these big Ivy League universities is about building the network. It's not only about studying in a very best school, because you start networking with the people, and this is the people, like for instance from Harvard or MIT, would be top 3% of the leaders in the globally, right? If you look at the profile of the students that joined Stanford, when I was doing some executive course in Stanford, there are 4 profiles of students who joined Stanford. One is academically, you're very good. Number 1, future sportsman. Number 3, the son of the current leaders of the world. And 4th, the son or the children of the big businessmen of the world. So it's about joining the organization or the school to network. So network is very important. You need to find a platform to network. Same goes to you guys. I know that you are from one faculty or one studies. you also need to network with those in a different faculty. You don't know where you are. Eventually, among you guys, you need to have this network in terms of, because you don't know where they would be in the future. This is probably the future leaders I'm talking about, right? So network is very, very key. Never, that's a problem that we go to overseas. We only like to be with the Malaysians. You don't want to start working with the other foreigners and so on. So because you're a comfort zone, right? I think for me, from a professional standpoint, LinkedIn is a very good platform. Of course, there's the other platform too. And I think this is where I think you start pointing or give comments, or someone writes something, give your comments in terms of what you think about that. Then people get to know you, and then people look at, hey, this boy not too bad in terms of even having the conversation. I think that's what it is. All right, that's my view.
Yeah, like I don't know of any other platform except LinkedIn for you to be able to network professionally. But having said that, also I can understand. I mean, maybe some people in the industry won't even layan your message. They probably would just ghost you like that. No, but I think from the point of angle that Raja said, I think that'd be more useful for you. Instead of trying to reach out to people in the industry, which you may or may not get a reply back, and that might dishearten you. So maybe network with the people around you and join events like this, which is always good. Yeah, I think that's how you would have a that's
What? Don't gossip, right? So anyway, my comment would be there are a lot of apart from network, this stuff, apart from LinkedIn definitely is a very good platform to start with, right? Professional career. There are a lot of communities out there, tech communities that I think is open to public, like Google community, tech community. You can find all these community. I think in LinkedIn they should have all these groups. You should be able to add in the groups, and then they have all these meetups and stuff where you can come in, hear some industrial expert give some TED talk, and then you can network with the people. And most of these people are a hybrid of students and working professionals. You can check those out. I think Google Tech Community, alumni, and all these are open to public. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your answers. It's very insightful.
Thank you, Akif. So I think we can see how important networking is. I'll come back. So those of you who don't have your LinkedIn account, so you all can start preparing your LinkedIn account.
My name is Yahya. I'm a software engineering student in APU right now. And I'm going for internship soon. And a lot of my seniors gave me suggestions about knowing my worth. And it's also a follow-up question from earlier from you guys, which said talking about salary. So how far should we take this into consideration for jobs and like knowing your worth about getting the amount of salary we wanted or a bit lower or higher? So I just wanted to ask the panelists, what's your idea about this?
So I think so every job, right? Every organization, we have a band. Right? When we have a band, there is a minimum qualifying band for the organization in Google, for instance. When we are hiring fresh, we have certain limit in terms of where we hire, right? And then this band that Google look at is a global benchmark in terms of they look at Malaysia and they look at what surrounding countries in Malaysia, then we do have this particular benchmark. Of course, we pay higher than the market rate, but that's Google because we have a global benchmark and so on and so forth. So, but local companies is all about affordability in terms of the business that they have, right? If we really look at the company and the company is doing this much of business, and they will look at in terms of what would be I would say, band that they're willing to pay for a fresh graduate and so on and so forth, right? So the only sad thing about Malaysia is there's no governing body that really set up to pay minimum salary to this much or 4K or 5K or whatever, all right? So sometimes it's sad because when I'm looking at the fresh graduate when I graduated till now, the increment are very, very small in terms of what are they getting paid now, right, compared to those days. So hence, one of the ways that you're going to increase your salary band is also the differentiator element you bring into the conversation, whereby you have certain certification that is very unique to an industry that really needs that kind of skill set. Hence, then you can demand. But if you have become a common, in terms of you have, everybody have the same computer science degree, so forth, in this case, then there's no differentiator. So for instance, you're a cybersecurity expert, for instance, and you have certain skill set that what the industry is looking for, or for instance, SAP developers, the ABAP developers those days or whatever now, they have a very niche requirement of this particular developer because the scarce of these particular skills. Then your degree plus the certification then demands the higher salary. So first and foremost, you need to know what is the background of the company that you're going for. Big companies, multinational, have their own band because they've done the studies in terms of where we are. Local companies, looking at their business size, they probably offer that much. But in your case, to demand such salary, you need to have certain things that to give, whereby this particular, I would say, organization is willing to take that kind of individual and pay that much.
Just to share, where the local company Raja has been talking about, right? And he's right now. I mean, there has been situations where I really like the candidate, but my boss tell me no money and you got no budget. So, you know, so I guess it goes both ways as well. Knowing your worth is absolutely right. But then again, as just graduates, I mean, without me having said it, so which leads me to say about confidence, right? So how can you portray confidence? I mean, it's very easy to detect false confidence. So how can you properly gain confidence? I guess the only way to gain true confidence is actually doing stuff. Get involved in talks like this. I don't know, maybe perhaps after this you can become moderator, all right? So this will actually help build your confidence and you can actually show in front of the employee that, yes, you are indeed confident. Like I said, we can spot some false confidence a mile away. Right? And so again, as young people, you have not gone through the life experiences needed to gain that confidence. So the more stuff you can go and put yourself out there, I don't know, go and bungee jump, for example. Things like that. Yeah. So maybe that will help you and internally, and then that confidence will come out. Yeah. I hope this answers your question. That's
So from your question, right, it's like intern, job, salary range. There is a, you can Google, there's a Malaysia salary budget or range for different industry. They should have a white paper for it, and you should be able to see in your field respectively what is the range of salary for fresh grad. You can benchmark that against your expectation in the organization or in the industry. I think that's something that more factual, which you can do. But again, most importantly is don't get into the wrong job. Get into something that you really want to do. Thought it through, then you get there. You should be able to find all the salary range in that white paper.
Thank you, sir.
I think we should stop the question and answer question because I think it's a bit late. So
Anyone want any last question?
Yeah, last short question. Last one.
Hello, my name is Renta. I'm currently pursuing my degree in computer science. I just wanted to ask, since you guys are like in high positions and we're talking about employability, right? If you could become like 20, 21 fresh graduate, how would you like go into the job market and like what guidelines would you suggest to follow?
You deserve a swag, right? You deserve a swag. So I was asking Raja why there's no swag. And by the way, if anyone can Google swag, it's a very cool stuff, itemized things that's out of this world. So 2021 guidelines, right? If I would roll back the clock 2021 years ago, getting into the industry with guidelines, I would say for myself, I would go with things I'm passionate with first. what am I passionate for? I identify first. Number two, after my passion, I will look for the organization that is able to allow me to live my dream, which means full empowerment and there's a career path growth. After I identify the organization, then the third thing is, of course, I need to look at this organization's internal culture and process. Is it a very old type legacy, kind of like shirt and jacket, or t-shirt with blazer kind with cool stuff and stuff, right? So after identifying all these things, then get yourself into it, but that doesn't mean you're making the right move. Always be prepared to fall down bumps and knocks along the way, multiple times. Even myself is making mistake today. Pick yourself up, learn, and continue your journey. So that would be my advice if I were to roll back time 20, 21 years ago.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to add on?
For me, if one thing that I would like to change, I think I would have done a bit of research in terms of what out there and what I'm passionate about. Okay, because those days when I graduated, and I graduated during the peak of economic downturn, right? So job is very, very important at the point of time. So you just grab a job that that's almost aligned to what you are trying to do, right? But for me, as you guys, now information is everywhere. Do some research in terms of what you want to do, the type of job that is doing. Read a lot of reviews. Those days, you don't have a lot of information in the internet as well. But now I think you have a lot of information. I think do some research, plan your career journey because you're the leader of your own destiny, right? Not your boss who decides on your destiny. You are the leader of your own destiny. So chart that out in terms of what you want to do, right? So then you start aligning yourself in terms of what I'm planning to do and so forth. Do the prep work, right? Just don't finish your degree, then just go for a career fair. Whoever gives you, Cloudmile gives you a job just because Lester says in school, don't join in, right? So do your research, check out what is there out there, and just align to your values and so
Thank you. Would Sir Ali like to add on?
Okay. I think I'll just make it very brief, yeah. Me remembering back when I was 20, 21, I thought I'm Superman, I can do everything. You know, I'm sure you feel that way too, right? So I guess for you guys, I guess my advice would be, if I were to advise myself, is just, I think I would just chill. All right, maybe listen to those, people older than you are. All right, and maybe the advice actually, I'm sure you get a lot of advice. All right. And I'm sure you're thinking, oh man, this old dude, he doesn't know what he's talking about, because I'm young, I got. But that's very far from the truth. So I think what I want to advise is that listen to your elders, all right, and especially listen to those who have been working, especially people like Lester, Raja, Again, your thoughts right now may not align with our thoughts right now because simply of the age gap, all right. So I guess my advice would be listen. Don't be too close, and don't think that you guys can do anything and everything, because at this age I'm sure you feel indestructible, right? I'm sure you're probably thinking, yeah, this company, they're damn dumb, why are they doing this thing like that? There must be a reason for them doing it like that. It's just that maybe we don't know what's the reason behind it. All right, so just be open. Right?
All right, thank you.
That is all for the question and answer session.
Yeah, I have one question. So sorry, I'm so sorry. Since all of us are doing internship, we are going for internship soon, September and October. Can I ask, would you all actually give us an opportunity to apply in your company, and can we know what's the platform to apply? Any platform from your company.
So Google has a ready platform. I think, as I said again earlier in my conversation or my answers, we have a very strong internship program, but it's a global program. This is something that I can share with the professor in terms of what is that particular link. And we do hire based on certain period of time. And when the thing is open, you are open to apply, and there's a way to write up your CVs and so on and so forth, and show that you have been given an opportunity. So Google do believe in giving opportunity. opportunities for fresh graduates. It's not that we only hire, I would say, people with experience, right? But unfortunate, Malaysia, we don't have a internship program, right? But when you are chosen to be a Google internship program, but you'll be placed anywhere else, so it means you will be placed in other parts of the world and so on and so forth. So it's a different platform that we have, and it's a very mature platform that we have.
For our tech, there's no platform that you can grow on, not yet. All right. But you could apply through Singlango Kerjaya. They've got a website. I think if you're willing to go on there. As a company, we are working towards getting internship, having a formal program, because I have been speaking to my management and says, hey, let's open up, after all, we're getting very good candidates from EBU and so on. So just watch the space, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
So because we are just 2 years old in Malaysia, so we don't have a platform for Malaysia. But in other regions, there are certain platforms available, right? So what we do now is we tie, I mentioned, PDTI, MDEC, go to specific, very targeted universities for intern program or internship day, right? For those who also want to reach out to us, can reach out our LinkedIn, and we have a email that writes to our HR to apply for intern program as well. That's what we have for now. The platform will come at a stage when we are more mature and we need more interns. So now it's very selected and targeted. But feel free to reach out, right? Like I said, everyone is a talent here, right? Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the answers, and I hope this helps everyone as well. So you know where you want to go find your intern if you want to apply to this company. So we have came to the end of the session. We would like to thank Mr. Raja, Mr. Ali, and Mr. Lasson for to be with us today for such an insightful session. So now we would like to do the giving ceremony, appreciation ceremony, where we like to invite Ms. Halimatul, Mr. Pratik, the CEO of APU. Mr. Ali and Mr. Raju.
We have Mr. Rajesh.
Can we have our leaders actually to join? And Ms. Munira and Ms. Hema also.
Okay, look at. Okay, try this camera, okay? One, two, three. Again, one, two, three. You good? Yeah.
The next time, can you invite Mr. Ali?
Yeah, okay, but I guess we should go. Yeah, but okay. Can see? Okay, can. Okay. Look at this camera. One, two, three. Again. One, two. Your camera can see. Okay. One, two, three.
Thank you, sir. Can we have Mr. Lester?
Okay, look at that camera. Okay, one, two, three. Again, one, two, three.
you.
Okay, can I have everyone from the side to actually come fill up the middle and the front? If you want to take a group picture with all of them.
Okay, can we have, you know,
Yeah, just come closer.
Those at the back can come to the center area. Everyone come front and some can sit the staircase there.
Okay, just whoever for the moment while waiting for Mr. Rajab.
While waiting for Mr. Rajan, please move in your seats. Mr. Get your seats actually. Come towards the side, come. Hope that everyone can fit into the screen.
No way.
Bagus ni, baik.
Those at the side, can you all stand up actually? Because this side is so crowded. That side also can. Or those at the front want to sit down also can. And the front sit down. Come down. Sit down. Come. Yeah, let's few of them. Actually, not bad. 5 people.
MC also have to join. Okay, everyone, look at this camera first, okay? Okay, one, two, three. Okay, another one. One, two, three. Alright. Okay, this camera now. This camera. Okay, one, two, three. Again. One, two, three. Okay.